Hey, Shalom, welcome to Vocab, Makapashim Jim. It's London, giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Chachwadash. I want to give double honors unto the elders, the apostles of GMS, and Shalom out there to the hopeful elect, preaching his truth and all sincerity. Back again with another video. On the screen here, I got what is known as a puff adder, right? Poisonous serpent, right? And it's apt. Right, but that's what I'm looking for. Apt, right? This image is an apt image of this so-called snake. Vocab, right? The fat, as the elders like to call him, the fathead snake, right? So yeah, he like a puff adder, right? Right, and this guy, he think he's slick. He think he's slick like a serpent, But it really, what he does in this video is outrageous, man. And it just shows you how much of a serpent he really is, man. And really, it's pointless to him coming to us, and the brothers out there, of GMS, and coming with this bullshit, man. Like, is he serious? Now he might be able to deceive people that don't know shit about the scriptures. He might be able to deceive them by these sleight of hands that he does, right? Banking on the fact you don't know nothing. And like, oh, that's deep. No, Vocab don't know what the hell he's talking about. Okay, he ain't teaching truth, right? He teaching deception, right? And no one has any business listening to him, man. Unless you're a two-thirder, man, or something of that ilk, right? You got no business listening to this dude, man, because he does not know the scriptures, or he does, but he's purposely setting you off track, And like I said, what he come up to do, with the brothers out there, right? It's just like, what the hell is you on, man? It's like something's obviously up with this guy. Like he feel like he gotta do the tour. He got to do like them pub crawls, man. He gotta go visit every pub. He gotta. Why? No, why? Nobody knows. He's already seen the elders and the apostles, right? He already seen the other elder brothers in the camp, and there's no need for you to come around to all of us and come with your bullshit, thinking that we're gonna say something different, right? Because that's what you're looking for. That is only what you're looking for. You're looking for us to say something different or contrary to the elders, the apostles, the brothers out there. That's what you're looking for, so you can cause discord. That's what you're doing. That's really the only reason you're out here for, man. Because you ain't out here trying to convert us, man. That's dumb. You out here trying to convert us is dumb, and you obviously don't know the scriptures. So why the hell, how the hell do you think you're going to convert people like us who study, that know these scriptures? How the hell do you expect that? Because that ain't your aim. Your aim ain't here to convert us, man. You don't give a shit about converting us, man. You're trying to just find an opportunity to create discord. That is all. Pure CIA tactics right there, right? Because that's what you are, and you're some sort of plant, man. You're someone that's been set up to, do these things, man. You're not really about the scriptures. But like I said, the sleight of hand that he does with the word proselytes, trying to connect it to Gentiles, meaning they're foreigners, they're from different nationalities, is a crock of shit, right? And the brother cut him. This is where we get back. He cut himself. The brother cut him, and he just shoulder rolled it like it was never said. That he didn't just say what he just said, and didn't acknowledge it. He had his poker face on. This guy is a demon, man. Okay, a snake. Okay, a serpent. Right? And we don't trust snakes and serpents, man. Okay, we don't trust these dudes. We don't trust the Edomites. We don't trust these heathens, man. Alright, so let's just get into the lesson, man, because, everyone should be able to see what this guy is and what he ain't. Alright. But it's just it's disgusting that he even tried it. That he even tried it. Right? I'm going to start here from Psalms 58. I'm start from verse 3 here, right? It says that the wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. This guy ain't nothing but a liar. Ain't but an Edomite. All right, trying to play it cool. He got a beard now. He got issued on. You know, he wants to be like Jake, but you know, he just ain't. Right, he just ain't. He ain't got the flavor, man. He just ain't got it. Right. You know, he's sporting his beard now, man, because we're getting at him, right? But yeah, you know, the wicked, they be estranged from the womb, right? There is no good either, mate. There is no, you know, they're all wicked, right? From the womb to the tomb, right? They're all serpents, man, spreading lies. That's what they're here to do, right? This is what this guy Vocab's doing, right? And you know that can't be changed. That's what they are. So their poison is like the poison of a serpent. Yep. They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth her ear, right? He ain't trying to hear this word. Like he ain't here trying to, you know, he ain't trying to get the truth, man. He got what he think is the truth, right? So he ain't trying to listen to us, and we ain't trying to listen to him. So what's the point of us speaking? What's the point of you coming up to the camps, man? To speak. We ain't gonna have to talk about. You believe in your thing, we believe in ours, man. Okay, and in the end, you're gonna be proven wrong. It's really as simple as that, man. We've got nothing to discuss, really. You know, or this supposedly contending. Now you're just, you know, you're just trying to cause strife. This isn't trying to get to the bottom of the truth. That's not what you're here to do, man. All right. So the poison is like their poison is like the poison of a serpent. They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth her ear, which will not hearken to the voice of charmers. Okay, we're the charmers. Okay, we're the prophets, we're the men of the Lord that are on the highways and byways with this truth. Right? You don't want to hear us. You don't want to dance to the tune. Alright? See, which will not hearken to the voice of charmers, charming never so wisely. Alright? Because you're not made to receive this truth, man. By default. Okay, if you're an Edomite, you're an heathen or whatever, man, you're not made to get this truth. Period. Okay, that'll come when, you know, we become your teachers in the kingdom, right? And you're gonna learn the hard way. But you're not meant to receive this truth right now. Right? So, you know, that's what it is. Right, this is from Genesis chapter 3, verse 1. It says, now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord power had made. Right? He coming up with his snake-like tactics, or how he found how he found the brothers and that, man, doing all kinds of image searches around us on Google, satellite images, and you know, database this and whatever, man. You know, whatever, man. Bro, I wouldn't know how to do all that. Let's just put it that way, man. You know, and you know, so that's what he's saying he did to find the brothers and whatever. But why are you so obsessed? Like, why is it necessary for you to come down? Like right at the end of camp. Like, you watch too carefully, man. And not for the right reasons. You know, you up in all, you know, up in what you said, you know, all the brothers' government names. Like, what the hell? Like, probably a lot of us don't even know each other's government names, bro. You know what I mean? It's like, how the hell would you know? Bro, even in my own camp, I don't know everybody's government name, bro. I just don't. Like, you know, they had Hebrew names, you know, when I met them, kind of thing. That, you know, they would have the Hebrew names when I met them. That's what I know them by. Yeah, some of the brothers, I don't even know their given birth names. It's not, you know, I don't really need to know either. So, how the hell would you know that, bro? Come on, man, that's crazy. You know, a lot of brothers, we don't call each other by our birth names, like so. How would you even know that? You say when we're together, we don't call each other by our birth name. So how would you know what their names are? Right, and we know there's some cases where some butthurt ex-members, you know, spill beans and stuff like that because they're hurt, and some brothers' names are out there. But like on the whole, like, how would you know? That's not a normal thing to know, man. Right? So you're doing something spooky, man. You know. Well, anyway, yeah. So the serpent is more subtle than any beast of the field, man. That's vocab, man. All right. You're there as a slithery snake. Okay, and like I said, we don't trust snakes. Right, it's from Ephesians chapter 4, verse 14. Says that, let me go up a bit. Let me just get the point. Verse 14 here says that we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine. Like, Vocab got his own doctrine that he promotes, which is off, right? But some people that don't know the scriptures, yeah, he could he could deceive them, he could trick them into believing what he's saying. If you don't know, if you're not studied, not learned, yeah, he could do that, man. But he ain't gonna do that up here. He ain't gonna do that with the brothers, man. Okay, his doctrine's weak. It's weak as hell, man. Right? Anyway, it says that we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine by the sleight of men. Okay, you're okay doing that sleight of hand shit, man. Okay, and you watch the video, and all there's other brothers with with this video up. Right, you see that sleight of hand shit that he tried to do. He start off in what verse did he start in? I think he started in the 7th or the 5th verse, and now he didn't get the context of what was being spoken. He did it on purpose. And when the brother made him go back to read it, man, he skimmed over it like he didn't say what he said. He tried to make it sound like it was something else. Jews, devout men, out of all nations. Yeah, they were Jews. The brother said they were Jews, right? They were Jews out of all nations, devout men, right? Because they lived abroad. They didn't live in Jerusalem. They lived abroad. Come on, man. You gonna do that, really? But he's the devil, man. He's a snake. So yeah, he tried it. And he made it look stupid. Right? This is by the sleight of men and cunning craftiness. Yeah, that's what he tried. Whereby they lie in wait to deceive. Right? And that's what Vocab does. Right? But he can't do it with us. Come up with some bullshit argument to try and back his theory of the Lord, is going to save people from all nations. No. That is not what the scripture says. Right? And he goes into where proselyte saying, because the brother asked him to, be nation specific, but he couldn't even do that. So, he went to the word proselyte he said that means that were from other nations. But that's not what it says. I think he used the Zondervans, right? And that was the only source he used. But let's just go. We're gonna get into it. It doesn't really take long. All right, we're gonna get it from the blue letter, right? From the scriptures, right? Because we use that Zondervan Bible dictionary too. For certain things, we're not gonna tell you that it's all on point, but there's some interesting things in there. So we're just gonna break it down as it's supposed to be broken down. All right. Anyway, verse 15. But speaking the truth in love, and that's all we're here doing. We're here to speak the truth in love, man. Not that applies to vocab, because he most likely a heathen anyway. So love ain't gonna be distributed to him. But that's all we're here doing, man. Is giving you the truth. But we become people's enemies for giving the truth, man. For speaking the truth, and that's just because. These people out here are really enemies of Yahushai. That's what it boils down to, man. They're enemies of the doctrine. They're enemies of the Lord, enemies of the Heavenly Father, right? That's what it is, right? So, but speaking the truth in love may grow up into him in all things, which is the head, even Yahushai, right? But yeah, he trying to make people, believe his wacky doctrine, man. His tacky doctrine. By sleight of hand and all that shit. Is Hosea chapter 4 verse 6 says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So like I said, he might be able to do that for those that don't really know shit really about the scriptures. Because they're not studied, right? And this is only what's destroying us, because we don't know. Like, it is required reading. It is a need to know. Our people need to know these scriptures, man, properly. Right? Not getting spoon-fed by these corrupt pastors and shit, man. Or these deluded pastors, man. You shouldn't be getting spoon-fed. Right? We have the elders and apostles. They've taught us, right? But the scripture also speaks about study to show thyself approved, right? Which I'm going to get, right? You got to do your own studying too, man. You got to be, the scriptures say, be persuaded in thy own mind, man. Don't rely on these pastors to give you the truth, man. Study for yourself. You know, everything that those apostles have ever taught us, man, they told us, man, to go look it up, go search it up, go confirm it for yourself, man. Right? To get understanding, to truly understand it, man, not just to regurgitate something that you heard, to believe in it, so you're able to believe in it, man, to increase your faith. It's no good just taking someone's word for it in a lot of ways, man, because it's like it's not rooted enough. It's not your knowledge or your faith. It's somebody else's has been given to you. You have to root it for yourself, man. Okay, and the Spirit has to be working with you to be able to do that, but you got to do your own work. All right. So my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee. Right? You reject this word because you don't know it. Okay, you've been brought up to or raised up to believe that this book is something that it isn't. This isn't universal salvation right there. This isn't that you can do what the hell you want to do and the Lord just forgives you. This ain't that. That's not, these notions are not in the scriptures, man. You got to repent and change. Okay, the Lord doesn't take you for who you are. You know? Yeah, you have to be an Israelite. No, you can't be a heathen. You know what I'm saying? That this is what we're dealing with here, man. But these people, they're lacking knowledge. Right? It says, I also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing that thou hast forgotten the law of thy power. I will also forget thy children. All right? Oops. Revelation 1:3 said, blessed is he that readeth. The truth is, man, people don't like reading, man. They don't like to study. Okay, they think it's lame, they think it's boring. Yeah, and it can get a bit laborious at time to time, man. But like I said, this is essential reading right here. Okay, your life depends on this, right? And you should show some urgency to know these scriptures, man, properly. All right, rather than just being taken for a ride by these corrupt leaders out here. You know, people that don't know shit. All right, so blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. Okay, and this is what we've been warning you about, man. There's a limited time left, and a lot of people are still playing games out here, man. You need to get this now before you lose the opportunity to get it. You know. This is 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 15. Study to shew thyself approved unto the Most High, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Right, so you don't put no effort and time into this. Now, how do you expect to get understanding? You know, people are too lazy out here, right? And they just want to be spoon-fed everything. Their conception of the truth to be affirmed by someone just talking about it. They don't want to do no studying for themselves, man. They don't want to find out if they're wrong. You know, they want to be reaffirmed by somebody else that they're right, and they don't want to go into the book to find that out. You know, they'd rather just go to the church and just be told. Right, the simple believe every word. Right, but that's what they are. But they're sheep for the world. They're not sheep for Yahweh Shai. They're not Yahweh Shai sheep, because Yahweh Shai sheep show diligence, man. Right. Yahweh Shai sheep show diligence, not like these people out here. All right, they're sheep to this world. Right, and they're getting led to the slaughter. All right, so study to show thyself approved unto the Most High, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. But shun profane and vain babblings. That's all that vocab ever comes with. Vain and profane babblings, man. You know. It says, for they will increase unto more ungodliness. All right. So let's get into the meat of the lesson. All right. And I'll just, because, Vocab used that word proselyte to try and prove his argument, which is dumb. Because it doesn't. Right. He just said it did. Right. I just picked out the word proselyte out of Acts 6 here, right? Yeah, the word proselyte is in verse 5, right? So I've just come out, went into that on the blue letter, right? And it says in Greek, let's see how it's said, yeah.
Strong's G 4339. Proselutos. Proselutos.
Proselutos, right? And brothers are going through this already, but it tells you a newcomer, stranger, alien, right? So Vocab would like to probably jump on that. Would like to jump on that and say, look, they're not from Israel. No, they're not from the land of Israel. All right? He is a stranger. He's a foreigner because he lives elsewhere. Right? Second part of this is a proselyte, one who has come over from a Gentile region, a land, right, to Judaism. Okay, which is, well, it is for all its purposes is the truth, right? These scriptures, right? But again, it's a Gentile religion, not region, sorry. One who has come over from a Gentile religion. Now, that doesn't exclude Israelites. It don't, right? They like to cling on that word Gentile. He even said it, that Gentile only means someone that is not an Israelite. That's not what it means. Okay, Gentile has to be put in its correct context because it doesn't mean a particular anything, right? Doesn't mean it just where does it go back to, man? I ain't gone into the word Gentile for a while, but I'm pretty sure it just kind of means ethnic, right? But it depends on what ethnicity that is, like. So it doesn't rule out Israelites at all. But we know the history of Israel. We know what happened to them. We know they went off into other religions, went to serve other gods, went out into different regions of the world and started living there and living as those people. We know this, man. Why is Vocab acting so ignorant to the fact that happened? Because that is the whole reason and basis why they needed to be gathered out of these different nations, man. That is the whole reason why in Acts 2, which he was in, it was the whole reason why in Acts 2 that these men were coming from all different places, right? Verse 5. And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, right? Devout men out of every nation under heaven. These Israelites, these Jews, were living abroad. They weren't living in Jerusalem. They weren't living in Judea. Right? They were out there in Italy, out there in Asia. That's where they were. And that's why they were coming in, they were coming in from where they're coming from into Jerusalem to hold the high holy days, man. Right? It says, and now when this was noised abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded, because that every man heard them speak in his own language. And they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, behold, are not all these which speak Galileans, right? Because they were native. Like they didn't live out there. They didn't live out there to where these men were. They were native to Judea. So obviously they would be speaking Hebrew, and that would be their language. Right, they might have known. Some of them might have known Greek and that, because having to deal, no Roman to deal with the Romans. But generally, they ain't gonna be knowing all these different languages from these other places where they've never been. Right, so they were shocked. Like, how are they speaking it in our tongues? Like they're from here. They're not from where we're from. We've been living out there for however many generations or whatever. How do they know the tongue? They didn't know, but the Spirit was upon them to speak what they were speaking in those tongues. Right? This is verse 8 says, and hear we every man in our own tongue wherein we were born. Because they were born in those lands. Like I said, generation and generation, they've been out there, man. They weren't in Judea. These Israelites weren't in Judea, man. They've been living out there for some time. Right? But these guys knew, those guys knew that they were Israelites. They were just living in another country. That was it. That's the mystery right there. That's the breakdown, right? This is Parthians, and these are the places where they were coming out of. These Israelites, right? Parthians and Medes and Elamites and dwellers in Mesopotamia and in Judea and Cappadocia, in Pontus and Asia, Phrygia and Pamphylia, in Egypt and in the parts of Libya about Cyrene, and strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes. Okay, this is what it was. These were all Israelites coming out of these different places, and they were hearing their language being spoken. Right? That's what was happening right here. But then Vocab jumps into this word proselytes. Right? But like we just read, a proselyte is a newcomer, someone new into the faith. Right? Someone who's recently converted from whatever, belief system that they had before. Because obviously in these different regions, they would, these guys that were drawn out from there that didn't know they were Israelites, they believed in other things. Roman gods and Greek gods and whatever, man. They had their own a different belief system, right? But they've been converted from that. It's the same as what Elder Apostle Dar said, man. We're all converted, we're all proselytes. We've all converted from different belief systems, man. A lot of us grew up in the church or believing in Christianity, right? So we've been converted from those things into the truth. It's the same thing. These guys were worshiping all kinds of gods, man. Okay, but the Spirit reached out to them and confirmed to them in the Spirit, but that they were Israelites, and that this was the truth. So they left whatever it is they previously believed, and came into the church, into the fold of the truth. So they were newcomers, right? Hence, a stranger, an alien. They were strangers, man. They didn't know before, right? They didn't know before. It's from Ephesians chapter 2, verse 11. Let me see. Yeah, verse 11 says, "Wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh." Okay, and they're speaking to the Israelites, right? So these people that have been coming in, okay, were Gentiles in the past because they lived out there in these different regions. They believed in these different gods. They weren't being accepted by the Jews in Jerusalem or Judea, right? They were being cast off as heathen, right? So they were strangers from their own heritage, right? It says, "Wherefore remember that ye being in past Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision," right? So like I said, the Jews in Jerusalem, they were called these guys uncircumcised, man, because they were following foreign ways. Okay, living in foreign lands, living after foreign ways, right? It says, "In the flesh made by hands, that at the time you were without Yahushua, being aliens," right? This is what it says. Stranger, alien, right? Being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel. You were a stranger to our ways, our laws, our way of living. Right? You were a stranger to that, man, because you didn't know. Because you grew up elsewhere under a different set of beliefs and laws and rules and whatever. So you was an alien, you was a stranger, right? From the commonwealth of Israel, and strangers from the covenants of promise. Now, I like the way it uses the word promise here, man, because the promise is only made to the Israelites, right? But they were strangers to it. They were strange. They wasn't aware of the promises, man, and the covenants that were made with them, because they were Israelites, right? They weren't aware of the promises made to them, to Israel, again, what all that stuff meant, right? So they were strangers. It says, having no hope and without the Most High in the world, right? They didn't have any prophecies, right, that they were going to be delivered. They didn't know nothing about that, so they had no hope where they were under their current belief system. They didn't have no hope. Ain't no one coming to deliver them out of subjection, from captivity. They had no hope. All right. It says, "But now in Yahushua Mashiach, who we sometimes were afar off, are made nigh by the blood of Yahushua." Right? Because like I said, you were far off. You didn't know. We knew, but you didn't know. Kind of thing from the Judeans' perspective, right? We always knew. We was always Israelites, right? But you didn't know, right? But Yahushua's sacrifice, is able to bring all Israelites in from wherever they are. Because remember, you got the 10 tribes that weren't even in that region at all. They were on the other side of the world. But it even extends over to them too. You know, they were proper going off. You know what I'm saying? And they lost their way. Started believing in different gods and whatever. So the sacrifice extended to all of Israel to come back. Right? Verse 14, for he is our peace, who have made both one, and have broken down the middle wall of partition between us. Who's the us? Right? Because we know historically in the scriptures there was problems in the nation of Israel. Our kingdom had been split up into two, and even within these kingdoms there was further problems and people leaving and joining unto the heathen, and right. So there was beef, man. There was problems. What's the word I'm looking for, man? Divides and schisms between Israelites, man, at the time. Right? It was very the relationship between, you know, the Jews in Jerusalem and the Jews elsewhere, man, is very bitter, very sore, man. A lot of death, a lot of betrayal happened. You know, so there was a middle war petition that was broken down by Yahushua making his sacrifice. Right, to unite us as one again. Alright, it says, having abolished in his flesh the enmity, even the law of commandments contained in ordinances, for to make in himself of twain one new man, so making peace, that he might reconcile both unto the Most High in one body by the cross, having slain the enmity thereby. So, and came and preached peace to you which were afar off, and to them that were nigh. So it weren't just for the Jews in Jerusalem. Okay, it was also for the Israelites outside of Jerusalem, in these different regions, in these different countries, but you know, in these different philosophies and religions. Alright? That's what it all is, man. Alright? So a proselyte is, you know, part 2, a proselyte, one who has come over from a Gentile religion to Judaism. Alright? That's what it is. Someone that converts from whatever they were believing before into the truth. That's what a proselyte was, a newcomer. Fresh. He was fresh. You know, you weren't fully grounded like, you know, men that have been in it for years that knew from the, you know. These were newcomers. Right? Start outs, you know. And that's, you know, that's what Vocab blatantly just lied about when he came up. He just lied. Straight up lied. Almost everything that he said was a lie when he came up. You know? And that's why we can't deal with guys like this, man. Can't deal with serpents. This is Matthew 18 verse 17, right? Just to make a point, right? It says here, this is what Yahushua said, right? And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it unto the church. But if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as a heathen man and a publican. So it was a thing that, you know, if we weren't seeing eye to somebody, he didn't want to abide by the laws and all this kind of business, man, you know, to cast them out. That wasn't a new concept. Okay, people were being cast out, man. Right? They were deemed to be as heathens, man. And they you know, they didn't want nothing to do with them. Right? And this is the attitude that had been going on because of things that were going on prior to the time of the Romans. Right? Because in the time of the Greeks, in the first book of Maccabees, right, chapter 1 verse 10, it said, and they came out of them. You know, these are the generals of Alexander the Great, right? So then there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been an hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. So this is all the way back in the kingdom of the Greeks, okay, before Rome was the dominant power, right? And all these divisions were starting to happen. I mean, they already had been happening, but you know, this is where you know, the understanding of these Israelite strangers that come into play, right? See, in those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us, for since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the customs of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised, both physically and spiritually. And forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen. They became heathens, man. And the Jews that kind of kept their integrity, right, and didn't want to conform to the Greeks and that, they hated them. And like I said, a lot of blood was spilled, a lot of death was caused, man, by these wicked ass Israelites. So they didn't want nothing to do with them. They cast them off, man, and they weren't in the forgiving mood, man. Let's put it that way. They weren't gonna let them back in. All right, that's why the whole problem was there when Cornelius came on the scene, man. When Peter had to go there, right? The Lord brought him there in the spirit, and Cornelius was given the Holy Ghost, and Peter had to explain that when he went back. Like these men, they're chosen, and the congregation didn't like the idea of it because these guys were strangers, foreigners, because they grew up in Italy. They didn't grow up in Judea, right? Or he worked for the Romans because he part of the army, right? Cornelius was part of the army. He was a centurion, right? He had men underneath him, right? But he would have been considered a heathen by the Jews in Judea, because their man didn't grow up like they grew up. He grew up in a foreign land, and like I said, they weren't in a forgiving type of mood, man. It was sore, it was bitter what went down, what transpired, man, and a great rift was caused in Israel. All right, but they had to accept him, man, because the Lord was dealing with Cornelius, man. The Lord blessed him and his family, his household, so they had to accept him. There was no, they couldn't gainsay. And that's what Peter basically told them. Look, if it weren't for the fact that the Holy Ghost came upon them, what am I to say? What am I to do about it? You know what I'm saying? The Lord is blessed them. So everyone had to accept that. And that opened up the door to the so-called Gentiles, right? Who are just Israelites that are in foreign lands believing in different philosophies, man, different religions and whatnot, that were being brought into the truth. They were Gentiles, but they were also Israelites. Anyway, this is back here. This is verse 15. Actually, that was it. No, that's the point on verse 15. But I'll read it again anyway. It says, and made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief. Right, and you read through the book of Maccabees. It goes, gets a bit crazy. What goes on, with these wicked ass Israelites and the Maccabees and all that kind of stuff. So, there was reason as to why the Jews in Judea were looking at these Israelite foreigners, these Gentiles, a type of way. Okay, calling them Gentiles. That's why it was also said that when Peter said it's not lawful for a Jew to share company with those of another nation, because it was frowned upon, man. Because there was enmity. There was enmity between those Israelites, the two groups of Israelites, man. All right. But like I said, Vocab, he's just banking on the fact that you don't know these types of things. So when he tells you, oh yeah, proselyte just means Gentile, it means someone from another nation, he's banking on the fact you don't know. Because you would have had to study to know that, to go through some of this history to know that, and the majority of people don't do any of those things. Vocab's more learnt than you lot. That's why he can take advantage of you. Okay, but like I say, he ain't gonna come up to the camps and convince us any different from what we know already, man. We know he's talking out of his ass. He's just putting his shit out of his ass, man. Thinking that we ain't gonna catch on. Like, come on, bro. Have some respect. You know what I'm saying? Have some respect for the craft, But we're not ignorant, and that's the problem with Vocab. He can't fight. He can't come against someone that's not ignorant, man. He can only take the ignorant. That's why it's a waste of time discoursing with him, or him discoursing with us. It's just a waste of time. But like I said, his real agenda is really to find areas of discord. That is all he's trying to do. It ain't about the word for him. Okay, it's about bringing down the Israelites for him. That's what it's about. Okay, he's a serpent. Okay, his motives, he ain't putting his motives out there. He acting like he's trying to help you understand the scripture. He don't give a shit about the scriptures, man. He don't give a damn. You know? But that's the serpent for you, man. But anyway, Lord willing, this is an edifying video. And I'll catch you brothers and sisters on the next one, man. So next time I say shalom.